I'm likely gonna end up with this lipstick either all over my face or teeth or both, but we are going to give it a try regardless. Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. Today I'm gonna be sharing with you a video I'm so excited for. Yet again, I'm going to be doing the Pan Those Eyeshadows Project Pan. This is my 4th year doing this project. I started it in 2019, did it in 2020, 2021, and now we're back for series 4, which is just so exciting to me. This is honestly one of my favorite project pans. It's my favorite way to rotate through my eyeshadow collection, hands down for sure, because I really get so inspired by the randomized color stories that I create, and it's really fun to get to know my palettes in new context as well when I use them alongside other palettes from my collection, and when I'm really trying to utilize them in a variety of different ways in order to hit pan and to better understand the formulas. It truly is so much fun. If you're not familiar with this project pan, I'm gonna list down in the description box a bunch of creators who have introduced this project for 2022 down in the description box. And I will also link some playlists from creators from last year so you can binge watch how others have done this project in the past. But this project pan was started by my friend Alexi, and she is the mastermind behind this amazing project pan concept. She did it a little bit differently than myself, and a lot of other creators do it differently. It's all kind of just dependent on your personal style and whatever works for you, but I have definitely found a way that I love to do this project pan. It's relatively simple. All I have is every single eyeshadow in my collection that doesn't have pan in it is in a spreadsheet. I randomize 5 shadows from my collection, pull those out, and work with what I got. So my goal is ultimately to hit pan on as many eyeshadows as possible, but I have given myself a little bit of a twist so that if something isn't working out for me, or if I'm feeling like I'm just not super compelled to try to hit that goal with an item, I'm still gonna get use out of it, and I'm gonna reach for it a minimum of 15 times, which usually takes me a couple months to do so, depending on the shade and the ways that I like to wear it. But as long as I get those 15 uses, I feel like I'm ready to move on and try to reach for something else, because the end goal is really to hit pan in as many shadows as possible. So I'm not gonna force myself to keep something as a focus shade that I'm just not inspired by or excited about. All right, I'm cutting myself off. I'm rambling like crazy. Let's actually get into the point of today's video, which is to pull my 5 eyeshadows. So I have the Pretty Random app here. I am going to use this to select 5 eyeshadows from my collection. I've prevented rerolls. I have nothing in my history now. I technically have nothing in my history now. And yeah, let's just get on into it. So I'm going to select the 5 shades first, and then I'm going to refer to my spreadsheet and grab all of the eyeshadow palettes to share with you what I have selected. So first shade is going to be 282, 151, 274, okay, very close, 161. I feel like these are kind of like close together. And then lastly is 103. So I've gone through my spreadsheet and I've grabbed all of the palettes that the eyeshadows belong to, but I haven't actually specifically looked at what shadows from those palettes I'm working on, and I'm really excited to look into all of these and swatch these out and share with you what my intro color story is going to look like. Just given the selection of palettes, there is going to be a challenge. But I'm really excited. I'm really excited so far. So the first item that I have comes from my like customized Mob Beauty palette. So this is a face and eye palette, but I have each of the individual eyeshadows laid out in my spreadsheet. And what I selected was M48. What shade is M48? I don't know. Oh, M48 is this one. Right off the hop, this is a great shade for me. This is like a kind of muted army green metallic shade. I'm really excited for this. This is such a beautiful kind of earthy, neutral kind of green. Really pretty, mossy kind of color. This texture is very blendable, very easy to work with. It's not the most like intense blingy metallic, but it's a very wearable, everyday kind of metallic, and it's green, so it's my vibe for sure. So I'm really excited about that as my first selection. As you can see, the eyeshadows that I have from Mob are not looking that well loved. I did get this in PR last year and I have really enjoyed these, the times that I've reached for them. I've actually reached for this palette over the holiday season quite often because I was really trying to be better about using the items that I did receive last year in PR. And so I'm really looking forward to working on this, but I have no idea of what to expect in terms of timeline for hitting pan on the metallic, but that will really allow me to get to know this palette and all of these formulations way better as well, and I'm really looking forward to this. And the next number I selected comes from my Juvia's Place The Masquerade Mini palette. This is exciting to me because I don't have any pans in this eyeshadow palette, and I've never had this eyeshadow palette in this project pan, even with having focused on this project for 3 years. It's like somehow managed to escape the rotation all this time, so I'm really happy it's finally making its way into this project pan. The shade that I selected is called Makeda. I was thinking it was one of the metallics, and it is a full-on true purple metallic shade, so ooh, whoo, that is fun. It definitely is a fun color. I really do enjoy the color story in this palette, but I don't oftentimes find myself wanting to wear like such a vibrant purple, and we all know purple is like not my vibe, but this is more of a true purple shade. It's not necessarily more blue or more red, and so I think it will be a lot of fun. It's definitely a statement kind of shade for me. But there is a decent sized dip in it because I have had this palette for several years and there is a little bit of wear happening on it. So we'll see. I don't know. This may be one of those shades that I wear 15 times, but I don't want to set that as my expectation. I kind of just want to see what happens with it and have some fun with it. So Makeda, I think that's how you would pronounce it. Makeda is my second shade, and this is going to be fun. My third selection comes from a palette that I am really embarrassed to say I have never ever put on my eyeballs. I've swatched a handful of shades from this palette and that is it. And I have had this palette for far too long to say that, truly. It's a palette that I received in PR last year and I just don't know what happened. I put it in my drawer and didn't ever bring it out, which is really bad. It's so upsetting. So I'm really happy it's making its way into a priority for me. So this next shade comes from this beautiful ZC and the British Museum collaboration palette. The shade that I selected from this is shade number 11. There are 16 pans in this eyeshadow palette, so let's just count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, yeah. 11 is just a gorgeous, warm toned matte brown shade. It's kind of like a medium brown. It's like a caramel kind of color. Really pretty. This is the first time I'm swatching it. This will make me reach for these metallics for sure because I'll just use this shade as kind of like a transition kind of color, and I'll be able to reach for the palette more wholly using that to just kind of begin my looks. So there's a swatch of it there. It is just a true warm brown kind of color. I think this is going to be really easy for me to integrate into a wide variety of looks, and really excited that I'm going to actually reach into this palette. So I have no kind of concept of how long it's going to take me to hit pan on it, seeing as I don't have any sort of familiarity with this formula yet, but I'm looking forward to getting to know it through this project pan specifically. And then the next eyeshadow palette came from another Juvia's Place palette. This is the Zulu by Juvia's Place. This palette has been in this project pan in the past as well, and these pans are absolutely massive, so I foresee this being a huge challenge for me. The shade that I selected was shade number 8, which is this right here. I knew in my head it was either the purple or this one, which the purple shade number 9, I already have pan on it, so it's actually not even in my spreadsheet, but shade number 8 is this hot red pink right here. And it is a massive pan. There is a little bit of a dip, seeing as this is an older palette in my collection. So that's good. At least I do have a little bit of progress going into this, but knowing what I know about the experience that I had with both the yellow and the orange in this project pan previously, this is gonna take me a lot of time and a lot of work. There's a swatch of it right there, and this palette is getting older, but the pigmentation is still unbelievable. So I'm gonna have to just use a tiny little bit of product. Maybe I can try this out as a blush, although I am a little bit weary of doing so. But I'm gonna play around with it, see how it goes. This kind of raspberry color is really pretty for like early spring. I do really feel inspired by those kinds of colors at that time. So we'll see what that has in store for me. I foresee that being a couple months out though, for sure. Like that is probably one of the longest haul products out of all of the ones that I've selected so far. And then the final shade I have here is from the e.l.f. and J. Kissa to the Rescue palette. I have worked on one other eyeshadow in this project pan last year from this palette, and it took me way more energy and effort than I had anticipated. So I am not sure what to expect with this, but the shade that I selected is called Firefly, which I think is like a golden kind of color, but we'll check. Yeah, it's the beautiful warm gold color here. So I'm just gonna swatch it right away. Ooh, that is a pretty freaking eyeshadow. It's that warm yellow gold kind of shade. And there we have Firefly right there. There isn't a ton of wear on it, so I do anticipate this being a challenge in terms of the amount of time that it's gonna take me to hit pan on it, but I don't actually expect that it's gonna be something that's gonna be hard to integrate into looks. I think it will pair really well with that like muted green color at the top of my color story and then that brown transition shade. So it's something I can wear consistently. I love wearing golds, but it will be a little bit more difficult to work towards actually hitting pan on, and it will take me some time, I do imagine. So I have definitely set myself up for a challenge to kick off this project pan. There are 5 gorgeous eyeshadows and very unique eyeshadows that I'm going to be working on, but this is not what I was expecting. I never know what I'm getting into with this project pan, but I was not expecting this much color. It's kind of disjointed, but it still is fun and very inspiring, and I'm definitely looking forward to integrating all of these shades into my looks for the coming month. Let me know down in the comments section below how you would wear all of these shades together or different ways that you would pair them. As always, I will take pictures throughout the month of all the looks that I create wearing these shades, and I'll share them with you in my monthly updates. I will be updating this project every single month, every like 4 weeks or so. And I hope that you are excited to come along this journey with me. I'm really looking forward to sharing with you next month my uses on each of the shades, my insights in terms of the formulas, my experiences with them, and how I like to wear each of these shadows. And yeah, that is everything. I'm really excited for kicking off the Pan Those Eyeshadows project pan yet again for 2022. This is so exciting. So thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye everyone.